everybody, today I'm going to show you on how you can recreate all the sauce synths from the track Computer Face / Pure Being by Flying Lotus. But before we begin the tutorial, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for more amazing tutorials like this one, and leave a suggestion in the comments down below for a sound you'd like me to recreate. Anyways, let's begin the tutorial. So this is going to be the first sound we're going to recreate, and it's the chord synth. Let's have a listen. So for this tutorial, I'm going to use Serum for all of the synths. So let's take our first one, and I also am going to include all the MIDI files in the description. But yeah, anyways, let's open up the synth. So yeah, make sure that oscillator A is set to default, so it should have the saw synth here. Then what you have to do is enable filter, head to MG low 24, then make sure you increase the cutoff to about 10,000. Then increase the resonance to about 25%, and increase the fat to 25% as well. Then what we have to do is head to LFO1, drag it to the chorus pitch here, go to matrix and set this to 1. Then head back to the oscillator, disable BPM and set this to 5 Hz. Then what we have to do is increase smooth to 30.5. Now what we have to do is head to our EQ and boost the frequencies a bit in the middle. So make sure you increase these frequencies here by 3 decibels and these ones here by 1 decibel. Let's have a listen. So yeah, that is how you do the chord synth. Let's head on to the next one, which is going to be the portamento synth. Let's have a listen. So yeah, let's open up our next track. And make sure that oscillator A is also again default and is the saw synth. Then enable filter, set it to MG low 24 and put a cutoff knob to the max. Then increase the resonance to about 25% and increase the fat to about 35%. Then what you have to do is enable mono, enable always, and set this to about 30 milliseconds. Then make sure you increase the smoothness to about 30.5. Then we have to do the exact same thing as we did for the previous synth, and we have to EQ the frequencies. So for 750 Hz, we have to put it by 3 decibels higher, and for the 2500 Hz, we have to put it by 1 decibel. And yeah, let's have a listen. So yeah, that was the portamento synth. Let's move on to the next one, which is the octave synth. So yeah, let's open up Serum again. Make sure you enable oscillator B, decrease it by 1 octave, and increase fine tune to 6 cents. Then enable the filter, set it to MG low 24. Make sure you enable oscillator B as well. Set a cutoff to the max, increase the resonance to about 25, and increase the fat to about 22%. Then go to envelope 1 and increase the attack to 16 milliseconds. And for the release, make sure you put it to 195 milliseconds. Lastly, what we have to do is increase the level of oscillator A to 85%, and for oscillator B, set it to 70%. Now what we have to do is, again, put on our EQ and increase the same frequencies as before. So 750 Hertz is going to be increased by 3 decibels, and for 2500 Hertz, just by 1 decibel. Let's have a listen. So as the song progresses, the synth goes by 1 octave up. So it should sound like this. Earlier on, it's the same notes, it's just 1 octave higher. So yeah, besides that, let's move on to our next synth, which is the bass synth. Let's have a listen. So yeah, let's again open up Serum. Make sure you increase oscillator A by 1 octave. Then enable oscillator B. Decrease it by 1 octave and increase the fine tune to 22 cents. Then enable the filter. Set it to MG low 24, but make sure it's only enabled to oscillator A, not oscillator B. Then increase the resonance to 50%. Increase the fat to about 20%. Then what we have to do is head to our LFO1, sorry. Make sure you enable the trigger mode and then disable the anchor and set the rate to bar. Then increase the smoothness to 30.5. Also make sure you go to voicing and enable mono. Now we're going to have to create our own little LFO shape, but it's very simple. Just drag this to the left, put it down a bit to around here, then go to the middle point and drag it up, just like that. Lastly, what we have to do is increase the cutoff to the max, drag the LFO to cutoff, and by dragging this little blue icon here, drag it down to -10. Now what we're going to have to do is do a little bit of EQing, but again, it's very simple. So just open it up. In the low frequencies, make sure you bring it up by 5 decibels, so at 75 Hertz. Then at 750 Hertz, it's the same thing, 3 decibels. And for 2500, just increase it by 1 decibel. And this is how it should sound. So that is it for the bass synth. Now last but not least, we should go to the arpeggio synth, and it should sound like this. So it's quite subtle in the song, but it is still noticeable. So yeah, let's make sure we go to Serum again. Then make sure you go to oscillator A, click on default, go to analog and select the preset square_saw_WRD. Then what we have to do is enable oscillator B. And what we have to do now is click on LFO1, disable BPM, set the rate to 5 Hertz, increase the smoothness to 30.5, and drag the LFO shape to coarse. Then we have to go to matrix and decrease this to -1. Then what we have to do is enable mono enable always, and increase portamento to about 32 milliseconds. Lastly, we have to increase the attack to 130 milliseconds. And now we just have to do a little bit of EQing. So let's open up our EQ. And what we have to do now is increase 750 hertz at 3 decibels, 2,500 by 1 decibel. Then we have to decrease this to 5,800, and we should bring this up by 9 decibels. Then we have to increase the low pass filter and decrease this to 16,800 hertz. Lastly, we should just pan this synth to the right, so about like 35, and decrease the volume to about 10 decibels. So it is like subtle like in the song. Let's have a listen. So yeah, that's how you can recreate all the synths from the track. If you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment down below, and thanks for watching.